The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 20th November 2020, Pride. Me. During yesterday's lineup, November 19th, when you told me to be quiet, I didn't really understand what the point was. During the alignment, I realized, I think at the same time as the people, that you were putting us to the test in detachment. I am. There are things that we consider obvious in relation to detachment and attachment, thinking that it is clinging to an object, a place, a person. But no. Attachment only speaks of our need to feel secure in the bond with that object, place, or person. As I told you, it is the expectation before them. Well, you don't cling to the external, but to the internal emotion that its presence produces in you. Like a drug, what makes you addicted is the chemical reaction it produces in your body. No one is addicted to a drug just to keep it in a bottle and look at it from time to time. Me. It's true. It's all a matter of sensations. I am. And for this reason, we cling to the expectation of feeling these sensations in us. After all attachment ends up being an expectation. And we must be very careful with this, because when we refer to the outside world, we usually do so based on what we expect from it, and not what it really is. We judge others according to our own perspectives and expectations of what is and is not correct. Me. It's like talking about politics and religion. They are delicate topics, but easy to refer to and visualize when it comes to analyzing attachment and projection. However, in more everyday things, such as being silent, respecting, turning off the light if you are not in the room, lowering the toilet lid, are things that seem silly or simple, but where the greatest attachments. I am. The human, like all the others, is an animal of customs. A habit is a predictable routine that gives security. Thus, the human mind is designed to anticipate. It evolved in relation to expectation. Waiting for something to happen as I expect, believe, feel, intention, is a key to calm, security, trust, peace. Me. Like when we listen to a song, which is made up of moments of tension and resolution. If the song is stopped in a moment of tension, our mind will do its best to finish the next sentence by resolving the tension. It is almost impossible to control. I am. That is why attachment is not only a dependency issue, but a systematic biological issue of human design. It is essential to recognize this to understand that we have attachments even in the smallest things. Me. Yes, since yesterday's talk, I could see the hundreds of attachments I have, from the most silly ones, like that it makes me very nervous and bad that someone takes my pen when I'm writing, in order to make notes on my own text, smearing or crossing out, or touching the ink of the last thing I wrote with my finger. Thinking about it makes me feel sick. Coming to greater attachments, like people I have loved and still love, believing that I need them to feel happy. In any case, I have put so much emphasis on working on the big attachments that when you showed me the small and daily ones, I realized that therein lies the basis of all the others. I am. In your mind, you design everything in a big way, visualizing the superior, when everything you see is based on small things. In physics, we can see this with any object. Your body, for example, you interpret it as a body, and yet it is the product of trillions and trillions of atomic and subatomic particles that support the larger image. So you understand that the greatness you saw only exists thanks to small aspects that together make you up. Me. It's true. We don't pay attention to the simplest and smallest things, especially those who, like me, have so much of Leo in the astrological chart. We are almost destined to look at everything with eyes of greatness and improvement. Many times in my life, I fall into gigantism, depriving myself of small moments. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. The idea that our mind looks for the bigger picture puts us in a place of superiority, of absolutism, and many times when expressing that vision, I fear falling into the perception being conceited, as if I believe me more than others for talking about these things with ease. How does speaking of superior vision differ from pride? I am. Pride comes from the Latin word superbus, which is the adverb of superior. Me. So you being conceptually my higher self could call you ego superbus or I superb. I am. Exactly. Me. So? I am. That. Simple. Superior vision and pride are synonyms. Me. So what do we mean when we talk about pride as one of the deadly sins? I am. That we should not compare ourselves with God. Remember that for monotheistic religions, God is above all. He is the only one, the superior, the overcoming consciousness, the supreme. No one can be above God or consider himself a God. Me. Clearly for the monotheistic visions, what we are doing here to recognize that we are God is a heresy. Well, we are putting God at our level or ourselves at his. I am. All religious visions are based on a separatist vision of realities and ignore the concept of unity as something physical and not purely conceptual. In the customs of the world of forms, they see separate bodies, separate natures, separate cosmos, and cannot perceive that the atoms that make up your body are the same ones that inhabit the stars like the sun. The old view of placing God in the heavens caused God to be positioned as the king over the palace, or the feudal lord over the castle. That is why God is called the Lord, and we are his subjects. But from the real world view, there is no superior being, only visions from different heights. The closer you are to an object, perhaps you know a lot about it, more than any other, but you lose your ability to see the bigger picture, the context of that object. It is like being an expert in literature, but not knowing the origin of words, books, history, and not knowing the context of the writers, or being an expert in medicine, but not understanding the body as an extension of universal energy and vibration, that is, as a subjective object instead of a physical one. And in turn, on the contrary, seeing such a big image of things, a superior and transcendental worldview, which prevents you from knowing the details and specialities of objects or subjects. Me. I notice that the arrogance to which we usually refer is to consider that one's own vision is assertive and the most important, despising the vision of the other. I am. Exactly. The problem is not a superior vision. The problem is considering my vision the only one, irrefutable and powerful over the others. He who on a beach considers that the most important thing is the grain of sand, denying the beach, is a proud ignorant. He who contemplates the greatness of the beach, underestimating every grain of sand, is a proud ignorant. Pride is not a sin. Sin is being ignorant and using pride as a tool to boast of your ignorance. And remember that ignorance refers to not taking knowledge, to the denial of it. True pride is found in the feet. Me. Why the feet? I am. Well, the true complement of true pride is humility. Humility comes from the word earth, humus. Therefore, it is the ability to be earthy, with feet on the ground. For a long time, we have been led to believe that humility is a synonym for humiliate, which comes from the same root, but describes the action of bringing someone to their knees toward the ground, forcing, imposing someone to bow with their knees and hands on the ground. Someone who is humiliated does not possess humility, but in the view of the subjects, being those who are given or placed below, sub datus, God is above and the others are put under him, from the Latin subdued. In the religious vision, humility has been compared to submission, kneeling before the Lord, not questioning, having what is fair and necessary, not being exalted, not to raise your voice or show yourself more than you should, to stay in line and not show personal power. For centuries, this idea has penetrated the culture, undermining the strength of the concept of humility, reducing it to a sense of lowering one's head, lowering one's voice, doubting, and being afraid of appearing arrogant. What happens to you? Me. I understand. But humility is not kneeling and lowering your head, nor an obligation, but the strength of standing on earth, empowered as a human, recognizing the value that I possess as an individual. I am. The pride of being humble. Me. It seems contradictory. I am. What isn't? In a world of polarities, everything is contradictory. Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. Did washing the feet of his disciples, his subjects and traitors, prevent him from continuing to say that he was the Son of God? Me. No. It would be what they call the humility of the great ones. I am. This concept refers to those who are not afraid to bow down, learn, question, be surprised, because they know who they are. They know what their true power and greatness is, and washing the feet of others does not make them less, but demonstrates their superiority. The pride of the ignorant is the one you fear, the one that leads you to consider yourself better, wiser, or more knowledgeable than others, the one that makes you believe that your vision is better, and that others do not know how to do it well. It is the arrogance of those who say, "Leave it to me, you don't know how to do it," of those who say, "You don't understand anything," of those who say, "You should do better, I know and you don't." Everyone sins from arrogance of the ignorant. Me. And how is this reversed? I am. Well, the first step is to admit you are ignorant, and know that no one can know the same as you. The key to education is not equality, but equity. In equality, the ignorant judge the other for being different from their point of view. In equity, the ignorant educate and learn with everyone. Me. It's the difference between saying, "You're doing it wrong, you should do it better," and saying, "I'll share this with you, which I suppose will help you improve." I am. Pride would be to say, "I know and you don't," when the humility of the great is to say, "I share." Me. The key is to know that we are here to learn from each other, and therein lies the awareness of knowing that we are all great superior beings sharing in the experience of humility. I am. You are all superb creatures with infinite capacities, learning humility in a body made up of limitations. Never forget that you are a supreme being, that you are part of God, of the universe, and that greatness lives in you, just as you must never forget that you are here to remember your greatness in the small acts of the simplest life. Me. The pride of the ignorant is to consider that he has the answers. The pride of the humble is to know that the answers are within, and he can only find them by sharing with others. Is it perhaps pride, then, to consider that I share what I know with others? I am. It will depend from where you position yourself, teacher or professor. Me. What's the difference? I am. Master comes from the Indo-European meg, which gives the words mega in Greek, great, and magnus in Latin, thus giving magister, the great, the one who has or knows the most. Teacher comes from a Latin concept that comes from pro, towards, for, and from the Indo-European pet, which means to speak, giving rise to words like phatos in Greek, said, or fateri in Latin, which is to confess. Teacher, then, refers to the one who speaks to others, who shares the dialectic. Me. So I think I'm more of a teacher, because I talk too much, and I also learn from what I listen to and what others share with me. But it is true that sometimes I have felt the arrogance of the ignorant, considering that I was in a superior position. I am. And it's in those moments when someone shows up to teach you something you didn't know. Me. Yes, putting our feet on the ground, remembering that we are all constantly learning, even after our death. I am. We continue to learn from each other. Sooner or later, you will be able to take the wheels off the trike.